Chapter 19. Fish Out of Water. Shelley reached out for Enrique, but she was too late. The tentacle had jerked him underwater. Ursula. Shelley dove after him. She had to save him. As she hit the water, her gills pulled it in, drinking it up gratefully. Adrenaline pumped through her veins while her heart hammered in her chest. The image of Enrique turning into a poor, unfortunate soul flashed through her head. She couldn't let the sea witch hurt her friend. She was the one who made the mistake. Enrique was just trying to help. Through the murky water, she could make out two glowing yellow eyes, the sea eels. She couldn't let them out of her sight. With any luck, they'd lead her right to Ursula's lair. She just hoped she wasn't too late to save Enrique. Clutching the Triton, she swam fast after the sea eels, plunging deeper and deeper into the frigid water. Her webbed hands and feet propelled her while her gills processed the oxygen and kept her breathing. Her brain kept replaying Enrique being seized by the black tentacle and whipped underwater. He wasn't like her. He couldn't breathe down there. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, she spotted the entrance to Ursula's lair. A bony exoskeleton of some sort of mammoth sea creature with a gaping mouth full of sharp teeth. She swam through the entrance, ignoring the protests of those eerie voices again. "Don't give her the Triton," they wailed. "She'll become too powerful." Something grabbed her legs, but Shelley kicked it away and kept swimming. "I'm sorry," she whispered, not knowing who she was speaking to, or if there was even anyone there. "I have to save my friend." When she emerged in the shadowy lair, her eyes became fixed on the crystal ball. Enrique was collapsed inside of it. At first, she was worried that he was dead. He wasn't moving at all. She swam over to the crystal ball and pounded on the outside. The glass was too strong. She couldn't crack it open, nor did she want to. The crystal ball was filled with air, not water. "Enrique, wake up!" She pounded on the glass harder. "Don't die on me!" He lay there, not breathing. But then his chest moved slightly. He was starting to breathe again. But he was trapped. A prisoner. "Ursula, I'm here!" Shelley yelled. She whipped around trying to locate the sea witch. "I did what you wanted. I got the Triton for you. Now come and get it, and keep your promise." She held up the ancient weapon, feeling a bolt of electricity run down it. The Triton was infused with great power. Ancient power. Dangerous power. But Shelley had to save her friend. This was the only way. Slowly, a huge form rose out of the shadows and slunk into the lair, illuminated by the light from the crystal ball. The sea witch finally revealed herself in her full glory. Her head and torso were human, but her lower body was the tentacles of a black octopus. They undulated around her, giving her a menacing appearance. She grinned, displaying all her glittering teeth. Her lips were glossy with blood-red lipstick, and she had spiky white hair. "My dear, you succeeded," she said with a cackle. "I had a feeling you had it in you." Shelley plunged the Triton into the sand in front of the sea witch. "There, it's all yours, just like you wanted. Now take it, and keep your promise to me. Change me back and let my friend go. He doesn't have anything to do with this. He's innocent." Ursula grinned, snatching the Triton. As soon as her clawed hand touched the weapon, a bolt of electricity shot down her arm and through her body. Her eyes glowed with yellow light while the electrical zaps fizzled through her. She cackled with glee. "The protection spell is broken! Now it's mine! All mine!" The ocean current grew stronger, churning through the lair. Shelley had to brace herself against it. Bolts of electricity flickered, running down the length of the golden Triton. Hurry, Shelley yelled. Reverse the curse and let my friend go. Ursula aimed the Triton at her. As you wish, my dear. A blast of electricity shot out of the forked end and hit Shelley square in the chest. She felt pain surge through her entire body, then recede. A great feeling of relief swept through her. The sea witch had kept her promise. Shelley looked down at her hands, waiting for the spell to take effect. But they remained fins. Her gills were still there. She could feel them flaring and sucking in the water. Then something horrible happened. She felt her legs sealed together, fully becoming a tail. Ursula peered at her with a fierce grin, an eel wrapped around each arm. You belong to me now, she cackled at Shelley, waving the Triton in her hand. But we had a deal, Shelley managed to say. Her voice came out shrill. Ursula laughed heartedly, looking down on her with pity. The whites of her eyes shone in the darkness. Oh, my dear, it's not a deal unless you sign a contract. Otherwise, it's up for negotiation. What do you mean? Shelley sputtered. Her voice sounded like Mr. Bubbles. No contract? No deal. You're a liar. You tricked me. Oh, my dear, it's not a lie. It's just sea business, Ursula said with a wink. She unfurled the contract. Shelley's signature glinted in gold. You're the fastest swimmer now. Forever. Shelley opened her mouth to reply, but nothing came out. The last thing she remembered was Ursula holding up the Triton and grinning down at her. Oh, don't worry, my dear, Ursula said in a smug voice. You did prove your usefulness. Shelley wanted to scream, but only bubbles came out. I've got something very special in mind for you, Ursula said. Triton Bay Tribune. New aquarium exhibit opens in loving memory of Shelley Anderson. It's been 6 months since local middle schooler Shelley Anderson went missing on the day of the aquarium break-in. The reason for her disappearance remains a mystery, though the police believe the two events must be connected. Missing signs, weather-beaten and yellowing, can still be seen posted to telephone poles and buildings throughout Triton Bay. Even the promise of a $10,000 reward hasn't turned up any leads on Shelley Anderson's whereabouts. This week, her disappearance was officially filed in the state of California as a cold case. But somehow, in all of this, Shelley's family's aquarium has endured, perched above the ocean like a castle. Today, a special occasion drew in a crowd. Her parents, the owners of the aquarium, stood before the main exhibit with their young son, Dawson. They all clutched an oversized pair of scissors. Behind them, a turquoise ribbon with a big knotted bow stretched across the front of the massive tank, which was draped with a curtain. While today was a day of remembrance for their missing daughter, it was also a celebration of what's in store. Welcome to the unveiling of our newly refurbished main attraction, Mr. Anderson said with a smile to the crowd. He gave his wife's hand a gentle squeeze. Miss Anderson spoke next. While we are saddened over the disappearance of our daughter, we remain hopeful that she will return one day. An anonymous donor funded this new exhibit, said Mr. Anderson. Today, we dedicate it to Shelley. We love you, honey. We'll always love you. We hope you come home. The somber crowd cheered. The emotion in the room was palpable. Some of the local schoolgirls, presumably friends of Shelley's, cried and dabbed at their eyes with tissues. One girl, Kendall Tarrant, later stated, "She was my very best friend." After sobbing for several seconds, she asked, "You got that? Like #BFF? By the way, I'm also the captain of the swim team." Meanwhile, another friend, a boy named Enrique, stood with his older brother. Upon being questioned, he couldn't remember much from that fateful night. He was discovered washed up on the beach. It was almost like his memory was stolen. He just knows his friend is gone. Without further ado, Mr. Anderson said, and then together as a family, they cut the ribbon. The curtain fell away. Behind them in the exhibit, a bronze statue of Shelley stood where the Triton once was. A small green fish darted around the statue's face, then swam up to the glass. The fish bumped up against the glass, drawing the attention of the boy Dawson. He clutched a curious spiral seashell, a keepsake, he stated, that once belonged to Shelley. They found it at the bottom of the exhibit the day she went missing. He pressed his face to the thick glass, peering at the fish. "Hey, fishy, want to come home with me and live in my aquarium?" he said. "Mommy, I found a new pet." Miss Anderson nodded, and the family held each other. The ceremony was a peaceful one, ending with guests laying flowers against the glass as another day in Triton Bay came to a serene close. And that's the end of the first ever Disney Chills Part of Your Nightmare. I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I do. For more books by Vera Strange, and if you're ever a big Disney fan or even a big Disney villain fan, and if you're a fan of Goosebumps, then I suggest you check out the book. The next book that I will most likely be reading, or probably something else, but be sure to follow up on the next book, which is called Fiends on the Other Side. Until next time, guys, stay dry.